afternoon, everyone. This is Bremster, and today I'm coming to you with something that I always am a bit worried that this is going to annoy people. This is one of my own puzzles. This is a puzzle called Lathe. And I'm always worried that this is going to annoy people because why would someone solve their own puzzles? But the reason I created this channel a year ago now was in order to do solve guides for my own puzzles, because I often found I was coming back to my own puzzles and going, I don't remember how to do this. And I found it would be an interesting way to help other people who got stuck on my puzzles, as well as for me to be able to come back and remember, oh, that's what I had in mind. And I've actually changed the way I do it. What I try and do now is create a puzzle and then leave it for a few days and come back. So when I do a solve video like this, I'm not actually following a step-by-step guide. I'm trying to sort of remember what I did, or I will discover things that maybe I didn't see the first time I go through, because not every puzzle is solved the same way. But because I'm a bit hesitant to do all of my puzzles that I create, because I don't want my channel to be full of it, full of my puzzles, full of my puzzles. I don't do all of the puzzles that I used to do, and I kind of miss that. And part of me is thinking maybe I should record more of my puzzles, but not make them the daily videos, and maybe have another way of them being accessed. I'm still thinking about that. But I do want to do my puzzles occasionally, possibly, and they are the most common puzzles that you see. And I'd be interested in people's comments about what they think about what I do. Do I do too many of my own puzzles? Would they like to see more of my own puzzles? I know I don't do things the same as other channels. I am fully aware of that. And I do try and aim puzzles at a difficulty that will be interesting to people. And I do try and follow trends. What are people interested in? This was a puzzle I created for the killer packs that we're working on at the moment. And I'd never done an irregular Sudoku before, and I was so happy with this that I actually wanted to release it. So I've released this puzzle on Logic Masters Germany, where it's got some very, very good reviews, and its rating has fluctuated a little. It got below 90% for a while, but it's back up to, I think, 94 as of time of recording. Who knows what it'll be when this video comes out. But this is Lathe, a puzzle I created because, yeah, I wanted to play with a regular while I was doing a killer, and I thought this would be a good preview puzzle for the pack. The pack is still over a month away at least. And I thought it would be a good exploration. So, yeah, this is Lathe by Bremster. And yeah, provide feedback on Discord or whatever on what you think I should do with more of my own puzzle videos. This is future Bremster cutting in, just to say that about an hour after I recorded this video, Ashish Kumar over on Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles released a video of solving this exact puzzle. It's not what I didn't know it was coming, and I'd already put a fair bit of work into making the thumbnail and everything, and I kind of wanted to keep this one going because I was kind of happy with it all, and I wanted to show my intended path. So I'm going to still release this video, but I did want to point out that you should really go check out Ashish's solve. It's absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't solve it the way that I intended when I created the puzzle. He uses a lot of the same tricks, but in a different way, a lot more elegant way. Ashish is an amazing solver, and that's why his puzzles are so good, and why I highly recommend that you follow his Patreon, Enthralling Sudoku. Go over and check out his channel. Check out his solve of this puzzle. It is a lot faster and a lot more elegant than mine, and I still watch my video because I think it's cool as well. But yeah, go check out his solve. Go check out his channel where both Ashish and Kishore solve Sudokus and other puzzle types. I highly recommend you subscribe to his Patreon, where he solves puzzles, creates puzzles, and sends out 40 plus puzzles a month, because he's such an amazing solver, and he uses all of those solving skills to create some phenomenal puzzles that will show you how to, and teach you how to solve puzzles a lot better. I should solve more of his puzzles. I just don't have time, because I would be a better solver if I did. So yeah, go check it out. I'll throw links above and below. And now I'm going to cut back over to past Bremster, who had absolutely no idea that this was coming. Anyway, so how does this puzzle work? So this is an irregular Sudoku, which means it is normal irregular Sudoku rules apply, which means in every row, in every column, and in every one of the marked regions, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. So this is a region, you can see by the thick lines. This is a region, so they're not the 3x3 boxes you are used to. They are the marked regions that must contain the digits 1 to 9. Apart from that, it's killer. So all of these cages, the digits that are placed in the cages cannot repeat and must sum to the number in the top left corner of the cage. That's the rules we've got to go with here. I do know a few of the tricks I intended. I've seen a few people talk about this puzzle and say that they've solved it in some very different ways. So I'm going to try and come at this with the break-in that I intended a little bit, but in the middle, who knows which direction I'm going to take. It'll depend on what I spot. So I wouldn't use this if you find something when you're solving this, and then if you look at my video because you get stuck and see that I've gone a completely different direction, that doesn't mean you've done wrong. A lot of the puzzles I create, I try and make it so that there's multiple ways through, and this is definitely one of those. So let's give this a shot. So the obvious things in the grid is a 16 cage in 2 cells can only be 7, 9. 15 cell cages in 2 cells must be either 6, 9 or 7, 8. Now this was an unintended consequence of me putting information into the grid. Like this 7, 9 didn't exist when I created the puzzle. It was one of the last things I added. Is this 21 cage, which was, again, not one of the first things I added. If you can't use 6, 7, 8, 9 in these 3 cells, what's the maximum they can be? Well, the maximum you could put into these is 3, 4, and 5. And if you put 3, 4, and 5 into these cells, that sums to 3 plus 4 is 7 plus 5 is 12. And if you put 12 into these, what does that cell need to be? It needs to be 9 in order to get to 21. So those absolutely must be the absolute maximums to make it work. And these cells here must be 1 and 2 to complete the column. And you can get that fairly quickly before you start looking at what I thought was the intended break-in. I'm now going to show you the intended break-in because I think it's pretty cool. Apparently you can get a long way without it, but as I said, different ways of solving. So what this puzzle is based around, like many irregular Sudokus are based around, is what's called the law of leftovers. And the way the law of leftovers work is it's a bit like set equivalence theory, or set, which is if you look at any the concept that each row must contain or each column must contain a set of the digits from 1 to 9, but the regions must also be 1 to 9. Now, in a normal Sudoku, you don't get a lot of traction from that, because if you were to highlight, say, 3 rows, then what you would know from those 3 rows is that the digits that are in those 3 rows are the same as the digits in those 3 boxes. But in an irregular Sudoku, you can do a little more. And I'm going to do a blatant example here. So if you were to highlight these 3 columns, you know that those will contain a set of the digits from 1 to 9. But if you look, these 3 regions here have, so that region is completely contained within that, so I can remove it. And now I've got 2 regions here that have a cell that poke out of those, and these cells poke in. So these cells here and these cells here must be the same. So what you can do, and the way I'm going to do this, is you can turn around and say, those cells there, these cells here must be the same digits as those cells there. Now, that's not the intended break-in I wanted to use for this puzzle, but I wanted to demonstrate the concept on something that was obvious. The intended break-in for this puzzle is actually to look at row 1 and row 2 and mark that. Then to look at this first region up here, and I'm going to mark that yellow, and then to look at this region here. Sorry, I've done that wrong. This is what happens when you don't pay attention for a while. I look at this region here and mark it yellow, and then I mark this region here yellow. And those are 2 regions versus 2 rows. Anything that is both yellow and blue, I can remove the yellow and blue from, because if they're in both regions, they contain the same digit. And what I know now is that these cells poked out from these rows and had to be the same as these. So these are the ones that poke out from the rows, and these are the ones that poke in. And this is a symmetrical around this row, so these cells poke out and these cells poke in. And hopefully that's clear to you. Now, this is where these 15 cages become important, because if you look at this cage, that's a 27 cage in 7 cells. And a 28 cage in 7 cells, which is fixed. It must be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It cannot contain an 8 or a 9. An 8 cage cannot contain an 8 or a 9, and a 9 cage cannot contain a 9. So yellow can never contain a 9 and can only ever contain 1 8. That cannot contain a 9, so that cannot be 9 6, that must be 7 8. This cannot be 7 8 because there's a 7 8 looking at it, and yellow can never contain a 9, so that is a 6 and that is a 9. And that's all done from the leftovers caused by those cages. Now, we have an 8 that must be placed in yellow. You cannot put 8 in an 8 cage. You cannot put 8 in a 7-cell 28 cage, so this becomes 1 8, which makes this 2 and makes this 1. And that is all completable by using the blue and yellow leftovers from the things that poke in here and poke out here. And that was my intended break-in. There are other ways of breaking into this puzzle. From here, there are many ways of solving this puzzle, and I'm going to try and remember what I intended, but I've test solved this a few times when people have said there's other things to find, so I may get distracted by trying to remember other things. So this will be a bit of an exploration. One of the things I do remember is now we know down in this region here, 7 must be in one of those 2 cells. We also know that down here, 7 must be in those cells. You cannot put 7 in here. So 7 in these rows is fully contained in these regions. So 7 cannot go over here, or I'd have too many 7s in these rows. So 7 now must go in one of those 3 cells, which means that I've got my 7 placed in the 28 cage. Now, there's a couple of different ways of progressing from here, and I'm trying to remember what they are. This 11 cage, I think, is restricted. I can't use 9 2, I can't use 8 3, I can't use 7 4, so this is 5 6. So now, one of the things to keep thinking about that I had intended, although I've seen other people solve without it, is what can go in here and what can't. For example, 8 must go in one of those 3 cells because I can only put 1 8 in yellow. So I can only put 1 8 in blue, and I've already got it. So I cannot put another 8 in here. Similarly, 9 must go in here, but it can't go in here. So 9 is in one of these 2 cells. I could potentially put 7 1 in here, which would allow me to put another 7 in yellow, in blue, but I can't do that. Because if I was to put a 7 1 in here, I can't put 7 1 in here, so that's completely nonsense. So I can't put 7 in here, because I can't put another 7 in this region. So because I can't put 7 in here, I can't get a second 7 into yellow, which means I can't put a second 7 in blue, so there must be a 7 in here with the 8. Now, so this, I can't put 7 and 8 into a 10 cage, so this is 7 or 8, and this is either going to be 2 8 or 3 7. And that can't be 7, so that can't be 3, because there's a 7 looking at it. There was a lot going on in column 4, and I'm trying to remember what it was. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, or 8. This can't be 4 because I can't put 4, 4 into an 8 cage. This can't be 8 because I can't put 8, 8. Can't put 8, 0 into an 8 cage. I can't make this 1 because I can't use 1, 7 because the 7's not available. So this is either 5 or 6. And that means the 4 is in one of those two. There was a more elegant way of doing this, and I can't remember what it is, but that's okay. I'll get there. I mean, I think it's okay. You may not think it's okay. This now is either... Okay, so this can't be 8 because this can't be 2 because there's a 2 in the region. This can't be 3 because that'd be 7 and I don't have a 7 available. And this can't be 2 because this can't be 8 because I don't have an 8 available. So this is 1 or 4, which means this is 6 or 9. Now, if this is 2, 6, if this is 2, 6, is it this 13 cage, which is 5, 8 or 4, 9? This 15 cage is 6, 9. That's actually information because I can't use 7, 8. I should have done that a while ago, which means this is 5 and this is 6. In here, 1, 2, 3, I need to put 4. I need to put 5. So 4 and 5 need to go in here because they can't go in here. Now, 4 now must go in here because of what I mentioned before. 4 must go in here, and in this cage, 4 can't go in the 8 cage, so 4 has to go in here. So I cannot put another 4 in here, so this cannot be 4, 9. This is 5, 8, which means there's no 5 in here, which means this becomes the 5. Now I do need to put a 5 in here somewhere, so it's down here somewhere, but that's not as restricted yet as I would like. And it's the interaction of all of this stuff bouncing off each other, and I've forgotten it, and that's okay. 1 is down here, because 1 can't go in that cell. Oh no, it could go in there. That's not it. That is not it. Huh. Everyone will be laughing at me, and that's okay. What is the trick? I've forgotten. There is a trick around this column. And I can't believe I've forgotten it. I can't believe I've forgotten it. I really can't believe I've forgotten it. 2, 8 or 3, 7. Whatever goes in here needs to exist again down here. Well, I can't put a 6 in here because I've got 6, 9 here and 6 here. So where does 6 and 9 go in? This is a 6, 9 pair. That might help me, because now I can't put a second 6 in blue. So I've only got one 6 in blue. So if this is 2, 6, that becomes a 6. And that's not going to work, because if this is 2, 6, I need to put 2, it might work, because I could still hide 2. I can't put 6 down here. 6 would be in one of those two. 6 would have to be there. And the 2 would have to be there. So that does work. 3, 5. This is 6, 9. So I know what these... No, I don't know what these are. These are 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're not 2, 3, and 4. 1, 3, 4, and 5. So there's no 5 there. There's no 5 there. This is the 5. So now 5 is in here with 7. And 3 is down here. So this is 3, 5, 7. Because 3 is down here, 5 is down here, and 7 is down here, and 3, 5, and 7 are in here. So I cannot put 3, 5, and 7 in here, so this has to be 3, 5, 7. Because if I put 3, 5, or 7 in here, then I would go 3, I would go 3, and where would I put 3 in this? I'd be 3, I would go 3, and where would I put 3 in this box? Or I'd put 7, I would put 7, and where would I put 7 in this region? It wouldn't work. These have to be 3, 5, 7 in order for this to work. Now, 3 is now in yellow here. Doesn't mean that can't be 3, but if 3 is here, 3 has to go in one of those two spots in that region. One, 3, 4. Now these are the same as these, remember? So these are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 8. What the heck have I missed? I'll tell you what I've missed. That 5 and those 5s mean I can't put a 5 in any of those. I have to put a 5 in the 8 cage. That's the 5, that's the 3. That's not the 3, so that's not the 7. This is now a 2-8 cage, which means that's the 7. This is now known to be 3 and 4. There is no 3 there. There is no 3 there. This is actually, so this is 1, 4, 2, 8, which is matches that. This is 1. I'll come back to that later. But it is 1, 4, 2, 8. But I'm not sure which. But this is a 2, 8 pair. This is 1, 4, 6, 9. There's a 3 in there. That or there's no 4 in there. So that is a 1, 3 pair. So that becomes 4. There's no 4 here. There's no 3 here. So that is a 1, 2, 8 triple. The 4 makes that a 6, which makes that a 9. Okay. Now, 9 in this cage I should have been able to place for ages and didn't. I can't put a 1 or an 8 here because there's already a 1 and an 8 in a region. So that's 2 or 4. Now, I can't put a 1 here because I can't put a 1 in either of those two cells, which is one of the first leftover things. So this is a 2, 4, 8 triple. This becomes a 1, which I could have used the 1, 3 pair leftover for. This is not a 1. So 15 cage with a 1 is either 159 or 168, and I can't use 159. So this is an 8 and this is a 6. That makes this 2 and this 8. I now need to put a 2. This is a 2-4 pair. That is not an 8 anymore, which I could have got from that 8. And the greens are now done. They are completely done. This is a known quadruple, but I'm not too happy with that yet. What I can do is I can resolve this because I know what these 4 cells are. I'm not doing particularly well today. These are 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, and 8 because they're the ones that are left over in that region. So 1, 2, 4, 8 means this has to be a 3 and this has to be a 7. So this is the 1 and this is the 8. So they're 1, 2, 4, 8. Not sure what more I'm doing with that yet. Probably nothing. This 4 means that is not a 4. We also know what these 4 are. They're not 1, they are 2, 3, 4, and 7. Now this is a 13 cage. There's a lot of options there. Don't think that's where to look yet. So we know what these 4 cells are because they have to be the digits between 1 and 7 that aren't 3, 5, and 7. So they are 1, 2, 4, and 6. Well, that's not 2. That's not 1 or 6. That's 2 or 4. And I knew the 4 was in here, so that lines up. I now know the 1 is in here as well. 9 in this region now can't be in those and can't be in those, so it's in one of those 2. Now, as I said, I've got the 1, 8, and 3, 5. So I've got the 8. I've got 2 1s, which I needed. I've got 3, 5, and then I've got the other of whatever. Actually, I can tell what that digit is because if I cancel out the 3 5s and then I cancel out a 1, 8, so those go away. What I have now is I don't have a 2 in blue. So that is the 2 because I can't put a 2 in yellow. And that completes the use of that region. So this 146 has to be forced into there. So that's 146. And now I can get rid of the colouring. I like the colouring, but I should get rid of it. So this is 146. Now I know 3 has to go up here because it has to go in this region somewhere. 146. What are these 4 cells? These are 2, 3, 7, and 9. Well, I can't put 3 in there, which I've already discovered. So this is a 2, 7, 9 triple. So this is the only place for a 1. Okay. That 1 means in this region I can't put 1 in any of those. So this becomes a 1, 9 pair. No, I don't. Yes, I do know what these 4 are. These are 2, 4, 6, and 8. So I can't put 2 in there. So 2 is in one of those 2, and it's not there. So this is a 2. So these have to sum to 10. So they are, and they can't include 2 because I can't repeat in the digits. So those are not 2, 8. Those are 4, 6. This is not 4, 6. This is got 4 in the cage already. That is 2. That is 8. The 8 looks down, taking 8 out of there. The 2 makes this 4, which takes 4 out of all of those. This is 2, 3, 7. That is not 2. That's a 3, 5, 7 triple. So that becomes 9. That becomes 7. That becomes 9. I can take 9 out of those, which I could have done as soon as I put the 9 in there. But you know, it's easy to lose track. I've been doing it all puzzle. 4, 6, and a 1, 9. So I can't put a 4 in there. So these are... That 2 makes that an 8. That's not a 2. This must be a 3, a 5, or a 7. Because that's what isn't provided already. Do I want to look at this now? I think I do want to pencil mark this because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 2, 6, 7, 8. That's not 7. That's not 2 or 8. That's not 6. That's not 8 or 2. So that's a 6, 7 pair. So I can take the 7 out of there and the 6 out of there. Okay. Oh, there's no 2 there. So it's 1, 4, 6. 6 must be up here. So that's a 4. Which means that's 6 and that's 4. That's an 8 and that's a 1 because of the 1 that was there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, and 7 go into there. And I can't put a 2 into either of those because there's a 2 in the region already. So that's the 2. 8 and 2 is 10, so that's a 3 to complete the region, and that becomes a 7, which takes 7 out of those, which means that's the 7 to complete that part of the region. I do like the way this puzzle jumps around. 3, 7, of course, makes that 5, which takes 5 out of there. These are 3, 4, and 7 and must contain a 7. I do like the way this puzzle jumps around. It's just a little bit tricky to scan at times. This 7 looks over making this 6 and making that 7. The 7 makes that 3 and makes that 7. The 3 looks back meaning that's not 3. This is a 3, 5 pair? Maybe? And the reason this is called lathe, by the way, is I thought this was a lathe shape and the way that the puzzle solves from left to right, like you're scanning across the lathe. 8 comes out of both of those because there's already an 8 in the region. So this is 1, 2, 4. There must be a 7 in here. So the others sum to 12, but I don't think I'm up to that yet. There's no 4 in either of those. That is a 1, 6 pair. There was something. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it must contain a 4. So there's no 4 there. Because there's now already 4s in this region, must be down here. There is a scanning trick at this point, and I do remember that. That 1, 6 pair looks down, making that 4, which means those are not 4. There is a scanning trick at this point. This is where it gets a little tricky. So this is 1, 2, 6, and 8. Can't put 8 there. No, that's not it. Can't put 6. No. What was the scanning trick? There was something with this 19 cage, but I thought I got something else first. So this is 1, 2, can't be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 8, and 9 go in here, and it must contain a 9. Because there's the 3, 5 pair. So this is 1, 2, 8, 9. What have I missed? I'm going to fully pencil mark this grid, aren't I? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1. Yeah, this is nuts. There's no 4 in there. I remember then I'm missing something really obvious. Or not obvious. I'm happy for it to be not obvious. I don't remember the sting in the tail being this bad. This is boding well for my puzzle being good, isn't it? it's something to do with the regions. They're all good. That's all good. Oh, what am I talking about? There's a 3, 7 there. That's the 4. That's the 3. That's the 5. That's the 4. It was simple region stuff. Well, not simple, but it was there. So that's 3. That's 7. The 3 looks down, meaning that's not 3. But what else have I got from that? So there is something else from that. So this is 4 and 7, which means this sums to 11. So I can't put a 9 in there anymore. These need to sum to 8. So I can't use 1, 7, so I can't use 1. These still need to sum to 8. I can't put an 8. This is 2, this is 6. And that's where the 19 cage comes in, because that's not hard math once you figure out this, because you've used the region correctly. So that all becomes forced. This becomes 1. This becomes 2. This is not 6 or 1 or 2. That is 8. That is 5. That is 8. I can take 8 out of those. The 6 goes down, making that 9, and that's 6. It was just me scanning badly. And, okay. I've already got a 6 in that region. I've got a 2 in that region, so that's 1. So I can take 1 out of there. This becomes the 9. This becomes the 5. This becomes the 3. This becomes the 5. This becomes the 3. This becomes the 6. This becomes the 1. This becomes the 9. This becomes the 1. And this 2 over here makes that's the 8. And that's the 2. And that is Lathe, one of my puzzles where I completely forgot the ending being based on paying attention to the region, which, is what you want to do in an irregular Sudoku. And that's kind of what I designed, particularly the break-in around these cells having to be the same as those cells, with those cells and those cells included. That's kind of what I intended. There are other ways of doing this. I hope you enjoyed the puzzle, and I hope to bring you more of my puzzles soon. Whether I do them as free posts on my Patreon channel so that they don't disturb the regular flow of my channel or something, I don't know. Maybe I'll just post a couple of regular videos to fill in some gaps. I've got some puzzles in the vault as well that I want to release. We'll see, and I'll see how the feedback goes. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed my exploration into irregular Sudoku. It was a lot of fun to create and a lot of fun to test, and I hope you had a lot of fun solving it. Again, thank you, and as always, good luck with your solving.